Hello guys, and welcome to a new part of our modding adventure for Democracy 3. A lot of things have been changed, and today we're going to look at two big parts. Well, thank you Windows 7 for doing that. Actually, I think this is the second to last video, because the only thing that's left after this video will be events and dilemmas, and we're going to look at that in the last video. So today what we're going to cover are situations and grudges, and we're going to need grudges a lot. We're going to need grudges even when we come back to dilemmas and events, so let's start with situations because they're much easier. So situations now are the green and red buttons, and I've got to warn you, I've already went ahead and written down all of it, so you'll have to bear with me on that one, because I really don't feel like writing it all down again. So these are our situations, and I will show you the normal situations in comparison. Where are we? Here we are. Alright. Again, behind me my cheat sheet, which should be set to situations. Yes, it is. Okay, right. So, as you have seen, this again is a spreadsheet, and this is the original situation spreadsheet. So it starts off like most other spreadsheets. You need to put a hashtag to get it loaded, the names, the in-game names, descriptions, and so on and so forth. Now you already see that there's a lot of descriptions. We are past the first description. Now we see in which part of the game it will show up. We see the icon, and then we see two more descriptions, because these are the descriptions that you see when they're actually happening. So the first one is the input description. What are you going to read when the situation happens? And the next one is the output description. What are you going to see when the situation is over? And so you need to write a lot of text. You can actually see this right here. It's already showing on my situations as well. Of course, my situations don't have very detailed description for right now, but it's okay. Then there's actually a nice thingy, which is the positive point, and you can see that that's set to 0 apart for those two, and those are high productivity and technological advantage. And yes, that means exactly what you think it means. That means that there are only two positive situations in the whole game. Congratulations, if you've managed to gain technological advantage and high productivity, that's all there is for positive situations. The rest is negative. What that basically does, it tells the game whether or not it should be colored red or it should be colored green when it comes to creating the button. So when you set it to 0, there will be a red button, 1 will be a green button. Then you have a start trigger and a stop trigger. You see that's always the same. It's 0.6 and 0.4. So 60% to start something, 40% of something to stop it. It's actually said here, start and stop triggers. You can set them however you want, although I can't vouch for what happens if they are reversed or the same. Actually, I haven't tried it, but I'm not so keen on fucking up the game, so we're not gonna do that. Basically, I have set them lower for testing purposes, but it just looks weird if your own situations have other triggers than this one, so I set them back to 0.6 and 0.4. This is the cost, and this would be income. So again, there are some situations that cost you a lot of money. Actually, here I think, is that tax evasion? No, black market. Black market costs a lot, really a lot. I mean, that's probably more than military spending, than maximum military spending. So a couple of billions with most states. You could also have them generate income, but that's not the case with any of the default situations. And then again, what happens is the effects. So you see here at various points there are hashtags. Everything that's put before the hashtag is an input trigger. Everything put after the hashtag is an output trigger. So everything before the input is, how do I even know this exists? What is this 0.6 that we are talking about? Right here, if we look at that, actually that's a nice line. That is pollution. So pollution is only generated through environment. The environment needs to be, well, how do I put this? No, okay, that's stupid. Let's take the next one, because then I can explain the default as well. Is there not a single one that's easy to explain and with default? Let's take this one. What is this? Technological backwater? Yeah, technology backwater. Okay. So technology backwater starts with a default value of 1.0, and that's why I want to take this apart from environment, because I want to explain to you the default. So what that means, when you start a game, you start the game with technology backwater of 1.0, so basically 100%. But then you see all this stuff that reduces it, all the little funny minuses here. You see whatever reduces it. And so if you start a game, and all these things, text shelters, technology, science funding, stem cells, creationism, space program, and so on and so forth, do not put the technology backwater under 0.6, then you're going to get technology backwater. So the default is used mostly to, you know, get rid of something, or to give something a base value that you have to work off of. The one of technology backwater with 1.0 is the highest, but there's also one with, I think, is that rail strike? Yeah, that's rail strike. So rail strike is quite easy to catch, but you can see here it has a prerequisite, which is rail subsidies. Cancel your rail subsidies and there is going to be no rail strike. Of course, because there is no rail company, no state rail company that could go into strike. So that's certainly one way to think about it. Other than that, you see here a lot of stuff, even without the defaults. But basically, if you've done simulations before, and now you're going to mod situations, it's pretty easy to get the hang of it. So I don't expect you'll have too much problems with that. And after the hashtag, you just put the effect you want to see. So right here, I think that's still pollution, right? So what does pollution do if it's in effect? Well, environmentalists don't like it. It's bad for our health, and the membership of environmentalists is going to go up, actually. Now that I see it, hold on a second. Hold on just 1 second. Maybe I'm completely wrong here. Line 3, agricultural subsidies. Farmers. No, I need something with environmentalists. Give me carbon tax, maybe? No, something where it's easy to see. Clean energy subsidies. Clean energy subsidies, environmentalist. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, they're not very coherent with when they put a voting group into singular and when they put it into plural. So I was thinking maybe this one doesn't even trigger, because as far as I know, maybe that's hidden, but I don't see how it would be hidden. What? Because pollution has no effect on the membership of environmentalists, does it? I don't think so. Maybe I'm just completely wrong here, but I do not think that this is how it works. Capitalist frequency, what is this? Brain drain. Well, I don't know the stats for brain drain in game. Maybe that's a typo, but I don't see how it would be a typo if it's really environmentalist. No, that looks right to me. That's really weird, because I don't seem to recall that pollution changes the membership of environmentalists. Anyway, that's not what I'm even here to talk about, actually. But yeah, just something that seemed odd to me. They would be getting more. They would be getting more by 10% per tick. I'll need to look at that in game, to be completely honest with you. I don't know it by heart right now. Okay, well anyway, these are the situations. So again, a spreadsheet, again very similar to policies and simulations actually, which is why we started with it, because now we're going to look at grudges. These are, by the way, these are my situations. They are both connected with piracy. The one is the positive piracy one, the other is the negative piracy one. Again, for the negative one, I've gone ahead and programmed it just like technology backwater, so you start with the value of 1 and then your piracy level gets subtracted. And you see right now it does bash your standing with everyone, also the positive one encourages piracy. I should put another negative thing here. Productivity actually would be nice. Let's look at, how's it called? Is it just productivity, worker productivity? So, worker productivity, comma, minus 0.05 minus 0.03 times x. That should be okay. Worker productivity, right? Just making sure there's not a typo. I really have to look up how the pollution works. That's actually kind of strange to me. Alright. So now, Piracy Declines will lower our stance with the everybody group, and our worker productivity, the golden age of piracy, will give us a bonus with everybody and also give us a bonus to piracy, which basically means it's self-sustaining. So later on we'll need to program a lot of harsh events and dilemmas that knock down piracy, because, well, once you have golden age of piracy, you're not going to get rid of it by yourself, because it's actually actively boosting your own piracy, the event itself, the situation itself, sorry. But we'll cross that bridge when you get to it. Okay, so these are the situations, and now we're going to look at, right, thanks. Now we're going to look at grudges. Grudges here we find under dilemmas. And where are my grudges? My grudges are under missions and scripts, I do believe. Yes, so those are all the scripts that are in action right now. Now what is a grudge? A grudge is a simple mechanic that 1 can be hidden and that 2 can decay over time. Which is basically how all the dilemmas in-game and all the events in-game work. They create a grudge, which is strong at first, and then it just decays. But you can also set it to non-decaying, and that's basically what I did. But let's look at a grudge first. So this is the grudge children's food. Depending on how you solve the dilemma children's food, I don't actually know how you can decide, but this part creates this grudge children's food, which lowers our health by 0.05, and it decays quite rapidly with 0.9. So 90%. The value is multiplied by 0.9 each turn. So yeah, you have it here mathed out. So only 90% of the value remain after each round. Which, you know, means it's going to be around for quite a while. But for these grudges in particular, I have set the decay to 0. Which basically means grudges themselves, when not incorporated in dilemmas or events, just help you shape your country. I have here, well, ignore the Germany because that's just where I took it from. I have here a hidden grudge that lowers alcohol consumption by 0.25, is at a starting strength of 1, so at a starting strength of 100%, and is never going to decay. Throughout the whole game, you'll just have less alcohol consumption. I think I talked about this before, but I'll talk about it again when we're in game. So, setting grudges without the use of dilemmas and events, you can basically form certain rules for your country. Less crime, less retired people, which makes a lot of sense in a pirate state. And also more productivity, just because it's... I might take this one out, but right now it seems like it's a bit hard to get a lot of productivity generally in the game. So I just put in some productivity grudge. Maybe I'll work around it with another policy, I don't know. But generally all those grudges are just here to give you a special outset for your country. Is it a country that has quite a lot of religious people? Well, then just give them a starting value of 20% extra religious people. Give them more patriots, give them more liberals, more socialists, whatever. Well, most countries start with a decent number of socialists, I would say, but still, you know, if they don't have those many socialists, just, you know, cut them off through grudges. So grudges are very powerful, and grudges are very nice for this kind of game, because you can basically shape your country before the game even begins, or you can shape your country outside of the game, because no matter what the player does, he cannot change those grudges. As long as they're hidden, he doesn't even see what grudges are in effect. So that's not something he can manipulate. But it's just, you know, it feels to the player like that's, you know, a cornerstone of your country. Maybe there aren't many retired people. Of course, he can try to counterwork it with certain policies, but you'll have to put in a lot of effort to counteract your grudge. So it's probably easier to just roll with it and say, okay, less retired people. We're gonna work around that somehow. So yeah, very powerful, and we're gonna look at grudges again, of course, with the dilemmas and the events, because that's basically how they are built, by using a grudge. A grudge that actually decays, not like my grudges who don't decay. But of course, just because you chose something doesn't mean it stays in the game for the rest of the game, but it decays. It might decay slowly. Right here we see it only decays with a 10%, but you can also make a lot of hard-hitting events and dilemmas that decay quite quickly, or if you're an asshole, you make hard-hitting dilemmas that decay slowly. So yeah. Again, a lot of testing, a lot of number crunching going on, what's okay, what's too harsh, what's too easy. As I said, I might get rid of the productive one, but the other three are probably going to stay. And now it's time to look, I think, at the country again, and when we're in-game I'm actually going to explain once again, because I don't think I've done a good job on explaining in the last time, why I put less alcohol consumption. So I will see you in-game when we get all this tested out. Okay, first major change, I finally got a flag. Problem, it's just a normal Jolly Roger. It's not some Monkey Island related flag. I didn't want to take, obviously, the what's it called? The label, the Monkey Island label, or a label of one of the games, because I fear that might have some repercussions. What I'd actually love would be a Jolly Rogers with a giant monkey's head, like not even just a skull, but just a giant grinning monkey in the middle of two crossed swords. You know, a typical Monkey Island comic-like monkey. But well, hell, I can't draw it. Maybe you can, but if you have any ideas for a flag for Monkey Island, I would be highly interested in that. For right now, we're going to go with the Jolly Rogers. It's better than nothing. So yeah. Also, I changed around generally this screen a little bit. The mod is now online. If you go to the forums, you can look for a forum entry by me. First version of this game. I uploaded it yesterday evening. Very excited to find out what people think. Okay, so this is our state, and we are starting off with Piracy Declines, which is exactly what I intended to do. I want you to start off with a decline of piracy, so you actually have to actively work against that. I mean, I created this situation just for this mod. Why should I not have it right from the get-go? I mean, it's something you obviously have to battle. Also, there are a couple of new policies. I don't know if you've seen revegetation, which is just something I put in because I think it's very hard to keep the environment strong. Damn it, there's no pollution. I couldn't check pollution. Actually, maybe I can. Let's cancel this. We can't do anything else. Damn it. I want to see if pollution really adds to the environmentalist. Very weird. And also the Insult Sword Fighting Academy, which adds a lot to your piracy rating. Alright. Apart from that, I don't think there's anything you haven't seen, so let me quickly fast forward until we get what am I waiting for? The one thingy here. No. Pollution. And while we do that, while we wait for that, let me talk to you about the alcohol consumption. You can see there's no alcohol abuse going on. And this was a conscious decision to go for that, because of course there's a lot of drinking going on. There's going to be a lot more drinking than anywhere else in the world, probably, in a real pirate state. But they are all people who can handle drinking. And this country, this game is not made for such a country, obviously, because drinking always has incredible negative repercussions, and I don't want that. Wait, let me just check. How is the environment doing? It's still doing too good. God damn it. Need more car usage. More traveling. Here, go ahead and take it. And at the same time, small business grants, more businesses. Come on, more factories. Right. So yeah, even though there is a lot of drinking going on, I do think that they are pirates, so they can sort of handle this stuff. And drunkenness is not going to be a big problem on Monkey Island. It's sort of okay-ish. So I don't want it to factor into the game really strong, because the only way to get rid of it would be an alcohol tax. An alcohol tax on a pirate island? Hell no. A strict alcohol law on a pirate island? Strong restrictions? Hell no. So what else is there to do? More or less nothing. Which is why I decided, just for a from a like story kind of point of view, that I really don't want that. I don't want either an alcohol tax or a strict alcohol law, but well, then I'll get alcohol abuse, and I don't want that either, and a lot of my players wouldn't want alcohol abuse, even though it would fit the setting quite nicely. Why am I not getting pollution? This is not so hard. Come on. Normally I get pollution without even trying. God damn it. We need more industry, I fear. Where is more industry? Industry. Nothing. Nothing here. Well, what can you do? Ooh, food stamps. Why the hell not? So yeah, I just had to get rid of the alcohol abuse problem somehow. Right, so here we are. Well, fuck me. I never noticed that. Huh. That is cool. I never saw that before. Okay. So, not a typo. Everything is alright. Everything works as intended. Nice. Now I screwed my state just to see how the pollution works, but it was worth it. Anyway, I needed time to explain the alcohol consumption. So yeah, there wasn't any other way to work around that if I didn't want the alcohol abuse problem to show up, which I really don't think fits that well into a pirate setting, because it would not be a problem. It would be okay. It would be everyday life to be drunk. Why not? So yeah, I had to work around that with a grudge. Same thing with the crime, actually. I lowered the crime quite a bit, actually, through a grudge, because again, the only thing to fight a lot of crime would be to have an extensive spy agency and armed police, gated communities, whatever. Again, I don't feel that that's very good they're very well fitting, I should say, probably, with our theme as a pirate country, a pirate island, a monkey island, basically. So yeah, there's not much going on in the way of law and order. There's just the police force, there's community policing, there's a jury trial, which I think is very piratey, very sort of anarcho-liberal. Everyone's the same, so he should be judged by his peers. Well, of course, jury trials themselves are not anarcho-liberal, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it fits the setting very well. And there is a small intelligence service, and that's it. Prisons. There are prisons. Well, of course there are prisons. And a racial discrimination act. Just because why not? We'll need it for our foreign relations, for our piracy, to have valuable targets, so why the hell not? At the end of the day, it's still a state, and it's still going to be the same game, and you cannot win the game by just focusing on piracy or any other stuff I put in. So, of course, I have to respect that, and I have to respect the game. And it's simply not made for that, but I think I can do quite a nice job of improving on that by just giving it more stuff to deal with and giving you this whole new side of piracy. And actually the second big bluey button, the next big simulation, is going to be voodoo right here on the public services. This is stuff that I feel will improve the gameplay greatly just because it adds variety, and at the end of the day that's all that matters. So yeah, that's it for this run. This is the version that's up right now, apart from this change I made today with the productivity. This is basically what you can download, and right now I'm going to construct a couple of new policies and think about how we are going to put the voodoo in this game and make it, you know, not useless. And yeah, next time I see you will be probably the last time in terms of modding, because there's only the dilemmas and the events left, and I don't think that there's anything other than that. When I think about it, nope, not really. There's nothing else I want to do, because I'm not going to show you every policy I make, and I'm not going to show you the whole voodoo thing. We've already gone through that. It's the same as with piracy. So yeah, I'm just going to show you the new things, so events and dilemmas, and that's it. That's when we're going live with the finished version 1.0. As I said, a version that I call 0.8, because I know that there will be two more updates, a 0.9 update and a 1.0 update. So the version that's on right now is 0.8. If you look for Monkey Island on the forums, you'll find it. And yeah, until then, good luck, good hunting.